Hello and good morning, Scary Champion, Psychic Medium, with horoscopes for everyone. We're into October, um, maybe my favorite time of the year. Halloween's coming. My neighbor has like all these blown up things. They have fans on, they blow them up, and there's cats and all kinds of things over here. And the weather's cooling down. That's very nice. And a sense of getting along better. I've heard the last couple of days. It seems like that the world is beginning to spin more like it used to for a lot of people. And it's much worse for a lot of people. But there seems to be a consensus getting along better about things. And you know how this works. I just have a list of astrological signs here, and I look at them, and I'm a psychic medium and not an astrologer. And I hear things like I do all day long. Um, I was going to give you a quote somebody gave me yesterday, but I don't think I should. Okay, let's begin with Aries. Multiple problems sort of piling up, one kind of after the other. And it's built to a crescendo where now it's really loud and too much to deal with. But my guys are saying if you tackle them one at a time, as they arrive, then it's pretty easy. You're letting them, oh, I'll do that one tomorrow. Oh, I'll do that one later. Oh, I'll do that one when I get through with this one. And pretty soon it's more than you can handle. Where if as they arrive, if as they spring up, you deal with them, it's much less of a problem. You tend to let things build up on you. You tend to let neighborhood dog barking agreeing with me. You tend to let things pile up before you act, which creates a lot of stress, and for no reason. It's just there's just too many things at once. So try dealing with them one at a time. Um, you found that hard to do because you're a procrastinator. You like to put things off to the last minute. And this is a reward you get. You have too much to deal with. And no one's going to help you with it because it's not their problems. If they try and take it on, it doesn't work because you can't shuffle this to someone else because they don't do it. And you're very particular about the way things are done. So handing this off to someone else and it gets done not in the way you like creates even more tension than if you'd just done it yourself. Interesting. Whew, it's going to be weird today. Taurus. Interesting. You tend to let other people pick the talking points, what they want to do, what they want to talk about, what they want to discuss, rather than offering your own. Yours are, someone's being too demanding. It's very loud. Someone's being very demanding. And it's almost like they're picking on you in some way. They're sort of insistent. And you wish they'd go away and bother somebody else. Well, it happens in time, but in the meantime, you suffer a lot. So avoiding these people, I know that's a crappy way to do things, but I avoid people if I can, if I know that they're just trouble. I don't get involved in it. I try and stay aloof is the word. I'm over here and it's over here. If I know I don't have to engage. And you think you need to engage, and you should pick the talking points. You should lay out the meeting in whatever this is. It's something about child rearing, so that must be part of that. Isn't that weird? Child rearing. I don't rearing. That's strange. I could probably delve into that, but it just looks like trouble. So I'm going to leave that alone. Gemini, mostly people don't know what you're about. They're starting to, but you keep that hidden. And often it's more trouble than just explaining, because by keeping things hidden, you prevent people from knowing you and thus liking you. Humans are funny. They like to pigeonhole everything. They like to know where you're at. Moved into this neighborhood a couple of years ago, and a neighbor down here started I call it interrogating me. She didn't ask me where I was from and what I did. She just demanded to know who I was and what I was doing. I said, "You don't need to know that." Just kept walking. She eventually got over it, I guess, or not. You'd be better off just explaining. I can't explain who I am in a neighborhood that I live, because then I have crazy people knocking on the door, readings, things like that. Interesting. I was at the doctor's office the other day and having an exam, and started reading the doctor. Now, I don't remember doing this because I don't remember these things, but I remember my wife explaining what I did for a living, because he was all confused. And you don't want a doctor that's working on you to be confused. So she squared it away. And he said, "Oh, I get it now. Yeah, yeah, that's right. You got it right. Yeah." But you need to explain more instead of less, because you have to. Keep the juicy tidbits to yourself, but the basic stuff, people kind of want to know where they don't interact well with you unless they do know these things. People need to look at you and say, "Oh, she's an engineer." And that conjures up math skills and all kinds of things, which means that they can feel comfortable with you, knowing what you're about. That's strange. We shouldn't do that to each other, but people do. They always want to know what you do, where you're from, where you're going, what your life's about. And then you can see them breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, you're all right. Anyway, Cancer, relief is just a moment away. Something very haphazard about your life lately. You've been living it in gulps. Here's a gulp, and then there's chaos. Then there's a moment of understanding, and then there's chaos. And this is intuitive stuff you're doing. Your life is chaos until something or someone tells you what it really is. In an intuitive way, you understand what's going on. Until then, you don't. Great powers of perception here, leading to you owning your life instead of other people owning your life. You don't take orders well. Welcome to the club. Leo. It's about time you stood up and faced your accusers. You have accusers who are always accusing you of something, and you let it go, and now you need to buck up, little buckaroo, and face into it. Your intuitive side is dormant. Doesn't seem to be working at all. You're letting this do, your thinking and your brain do all of your work, where your intuitive self could easily make everything disappear. And if you watched any of my videos, it's sort of like that I'm in the middle of a video and all of a sudden I get something from the other side that clarifies everything. I know it's not coming from me. I don't think like that, but someone else is doing a lot of thinking for me in an intuitive way, and it seems to solve everything. I'll give you an example. I have a perfectly good car that's 5 years old, very low mileage. It was bought to do shows with, to actually sleep in, drive 1,000 miles, and along the way stop and sleep a little bit and then get to the show. And it was cheaper to do shows that way. That's what the car was bought for. Great gas mileage and long where you could sleep in it. And recently I began thinking that there's something internally wrong with this car. I don't know what. But the last time I got this feeling, I opened the hood and there was a spark plug that had cracked. So my intuitive self told me there was something wrong with the car. I pulled the plug out, put a whole new set in there, and it ran fine. But the little white insulator part on the top part of it had cracked and it wasn't firing right. Well, this is that same sort of feeling. It's in the back of your head. You're saying, what is that about? And so I traded the car a couple of days ago, even though they test drove it. They said, it's a great little car. I know intuitively that there's something not quite right with it. It's going to cost a lot of money to fix. So I no longer have that car. Now, I don't want to follow it. Can I follow this car around until it blows up? I don't want to do that. But that's what's going to happen. Open your intuitive side up. It can save you a lot of grief and a lot of money and time and effort and make your life just much better. You're sort of closed off. Virgo. Something interesting going on with you right now. You're assessing the situation. It's a strength. You can view, other people will say you're stalling around, and it may look like you're procrastinating. It may look like you're stalling around, that you just simply don't want to do something. That's not what's going on. Other people may even complain, say, well, she just can't make up her mind. Wish she would and get on with it. And that's not it at all. You're assessing the situation using both your intuitive and your cognitive brain. You're trying to make those two help you assess what's going on. Before you make another move, this is very good. You can't get any better than this. This is what normal people do. People like me don't do that because I don't have that cognitive brain. I just have the intuitive side. But you've learned to put the two together, and it's a strength. Do not think that it's not, because it is. And it's a very good one to be carrying around in your little bag of tricks. Right now you're assessing, and at some point you'll make a decision. You'll either turn left or you'll turn right, based on the information you're gathering through your cognitive and intuitive brain. Interesting. You have a long way to go, by the way, but you've got the right idea. Libra, you right now, you're manifesting all kinds of wondrous things, but I think you've set your manifesting meter too high, things you can't attain. The trick in manifesting is to pick things that you need, not things you want. Things you need. What do you need in your life to make it, more security? That's a tough one. That takes time. Manifesting it can be done. It's a long-term goal, and it comes together in little pieces. It doesn't just come all together. And this is a puzzle that as pieces come floating to you, you pick the ones out that fit your puzzle and lock them in. A lot of metaphoric talking going on here, isn't there? Wait until the time is right. Don't move too early. And you'll know when the time is. Scorpio. This is a very odd thing. Get your tail back where you belong. You wandered out of your comfort zone. You're doing something you shouldn't be doing. And if you've had a lot of dreams lately where you are in your dream, you're doing something that's uncomfortable, And I've talked about this before. I did this on the video about Paul McCartney, that if you're having dreams and feelings of not belonging, then you don't. You can't reconcile it. It's just not in your nature, your character. You're following along the lines of someone else and not what your true heart tells you need to be doing. Stop following other people. Other people lead you into danger. Whereas if left to your own thinking, you wouldn't. Think lesser. Sagittarius. By happenstance, you're going to meet the person you really should be with. That hadn't happened already. Really an accidental meeting. And someone's singing that old song, Marilyn Monroe sang it, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Not Madonna, she sang it a century later, but the original, I don't know, I think it was Marilyn Monroe. I saw her singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. And Madonna tried to copy her, like most of these people do. They're not original, they're just copying people. Isn't that weird to get a thing like that in a reading online? You've become a little stodgy lately. Stodgy, that's a good word. I don't know what it means, you'll have to look it up. Stuck in yourself. It's time to get out and experience things new that will affect your love life in a positive way. Don't think of the past. There's nothing there. Past is often the best predictor of the future. Try not to get stuck in a rut, and that way your past is not an indicator of your future or a predictor of your future. People go round and round, do the same thing over and over and over again. Nothing ever changes. That's not particularly you. You tend to like change. Capricorn. You have the ability to do great things, but you're going to have to open up. You're going to have to reduce the risk of failure by taking a chance. Personal issues abound. Having trouble talking to people you never had trouble talking to before. And a lot of it has to do with insisting that you're right. And sometimes you are, and sometimes you're not. Aquarius, pass the buck. You're carrying a heavy load. You need to pass that off to someone. And if you can't actually, there's some kind of ritual involved. What that means. You need someone to tell this stuff to. By telling your troubles to someone else, it relieves the load off of you. I don't know why, but I call it emotion dumping. People do it all the time. They call you sometimes and tell you all their troubles, and then they hang up and they feel great. And say, boy, I feel so much better talking to Diane. She's my favorite go-to person when I'm feeling bad. But now Diane's got it. Whatever trouble you had, you dumped it on her, and she wants to forget about it as quick as possible. But by telling people your trouble, they seem to make them less. And there's something about obligating, that maybe you're obligating yourself to do things you shouldn't be doing. Listen to your heart, someone says very loudly. Don't listen to other people. They don't know any better than you do. Heart's a very good indicator of the truth and where you should be going. And your heart, not somebody else's. Boy. Pisces. Too picky, too picky, too picky. Stop picking on yourself. Stop picking on other people. It doesn't solve anything. Here's the difference. You're sort of a detective. You like to know things, and you pick at things in other people in order to get to the bottom of it, to get to the truth, which is not your truth. You're just curious about what their truth is. But by picking and annoying these people, you tend to make yourself you're being unfriended. But it's a great gift to have to determine right from wrong, truth from untruth. And that's what you're interested in. Try to find some way to use that. Often, they're jobs for people like you, personnel. You can look someone in the eye and know whether they're going to do the job or not. Forget their credentials because people are faking those all day long. But asking the right questions, putting your spidey sense on them, you should be able to determine right from wrong. And less picking. Trust your intuitive self. Your intuitive self's always right. You often don't have a clue. Your intuitive self always knows. Whew, well, I'm worn out. And that's horoscopes for everyone for October 2019. I hope that this year ends well for you, and I hope the next one begins as you want it to. Always try and find some happiness in life because it's what matters. It's what matters. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.